I'll take maybe 10 minutes, maybe less, to share something about the end of the surah. The end of the surah from إِنَّ الَّذِينَ أَجْرَمُوا كَانُوا مِنَ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا يَضْحَكُونَ. So this is a passage that discusses interactions between the Muslims and the people of Mecca under the Prophet ﷺ at the time where they were being oppressed. And the Mutaffifin is probably, we don't know for sure, but probably towards the second half of the Meccan period. Wallahu a'lam. And at the end of the surah, Allah, I'll go ahead and translate, Allah discusses that the ones who are guilty, الَّذِينَ أَجْرَمُوا, or you could say the ones who were criminals, they used to laugh at the believers. كَانُوا مِنَ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا يَضْحَكُونَ. And I'll come back to that, translate the specific wording of that ayah. They used to laugh at the believers. And when they would pass by them, they would wink. They would make, signals like they're making fun of them, but in secret. And they're showing that they're discussing these people, but they don't let them know what they're talking, like what they're saying about them. يَتَغَامَزُونَ. And then when they would go back to their family or their tribe or their people, they would go back, and since this is the season, I'll use the word merry. They would go back in merriment, like the word Merry Christmas. It means happy, but in a certain way. Entertained, having a good time, thinking like, this was fun, let's do it again tomorrow. They were entertained with the things that they were doing at the believers. Like they're really using the believers and what these foolish people do, foolish in their mind, of course, to kind of, get some entertainment during the day. They're bored. Let's go walk by these believers and make fun of them. That'll make the day more fun. This is what they used to do. And they would say, so what kind of things would they say about the believers? They would say, these guys are so lost. They've lost the plot. These are so, they're in another planet. They have no clue what life is about. ضَالُّونَ. And Allah comments about this. وَمَا أُرْسِلُوا عَلَيْهِمْ حَافِظِينَ. Hafidhin, basically this ayah could translate in modern day English language, it's none of their business. How is it their business to go see what the believers are doing? Hafidhin, what is the phrase Yusuf says? Inni hafidhun alim, right? Hafiz, protective of the money. So business, it's none of their business. They're not hafiz. There's not hafidhin over this. It's none of their business. They're not supposed to take care of what the believers are doing. So it does compare to the English phrase, it's none of their business. And then Allah finishes the surah with 3 more ayahs, now flipping the picture and says, so today, meaning on the Day of Judgment, because the rest of the surah was about the Day of Judgment, the believers will be laughing at the kuffar, will be laughing at the disbelievers, reclining on couches, looking. We don't know what they're looking at, but they're relaxed, looking, reclining on couches. And it implies saying or asking or wondering, have the kuffar, have the disbelievers been paid back for what they used to do? So a question that comes to mind is, doesn't Allah say, Azza wa Jal, that on the Day of Judgment, Allah will remove all ill feelings from the hearts of the believers? So how are these people on the Day of Judgment laughing at the kuffar? One understanding that people might bring is that it's comparable to somebody who is facing extreme hardship, extreme suffering, extreme oppression, like the people of Gaza. And that if those people who are facing severe hardship, severe oppression, severe suffering at the hands of criminal people, then let's say that those criminals are caught and put on trial. And the victims are brought to witness the trial of those criminals who made them suffer severe suffering. So now the victims are in a place of safety. The criminals have been caught, and the victim is in a place of safety. They can recline, they're relaxed, they're no longer suffering at the hands of those criminals. And on top of being in a place of safety, now they're witnessing their criminal or the person who made them suffer so severely having to face what they did. And so a person might let out a laughter of relief. A laughter of relief can only happen if these two things are there. Number one, they're safe and relaxed. The pain is gone. Number two, they get to witness their oppressor facing the consequences. And this is exactly what the next two ayahs are saying. عَلَى الْأَرَائِكِ يَنْظُرُونَ. Relaxing on couches, looking. هَلْ ثُوِّبَ الْكُفَّارُ مَا كَانُوا يَفْعَلُونَ. Have they been repaid for what they did? So this gives rationale to understand how come believers on the Day of Judgment are laughing. We could understand this as a laughter of relief. I mean, for sure, Bilal ibn Rabah, you wouldn't want to be on his way looking for Umayyah at the Battle of Badr. How happy would he be? How relieved would he be? He might have let out a laughter of relief at seeing that now Umayyah is dead. Right? So we can compare this, we can understand this way. But now the last thing that I want to bring from this passage is to compare the way Allah says that the criminals were laughing at the believers with the way Allah says that the believers will be laughing at the kuffar. Because Allah does not use the same exact phrase. Allah could have said, وَكَانَ الَّذِينَ أَجْرَمُوا مِنَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ يَضْحَكُونَ. But He says, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ أَجْرَمُوا كَانُوا مِنَ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا يَضْحَكُونَ. So there's two differences. The كانوا comes in between الَّذِينَ أَجْرَمُوا كانوا, and then من الذين آمنوا يضحكون. The كانوا comes in between. That's the first thing. And number two, Allah doesn't say المؤمنين, He says الذين آمنوا. Those are the two differences when you compare to the second ayah at the bottom of the page where Allah says فَالْيَوْمَ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا مِنَ الْكُفَّارِ يَضْحَكُونَ. There is no كانوا in the middle, and it's not مِنَ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا, it's مِنَ الْكُفَّارِ. So in the first ayah, it's not مِنَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ مِنَ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا. The second one, it's not مِنَ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا, it's مِنَ الْكُفَّارِ. So there's a difference in the phrasing. So any Arab speakers here would know that in the first case, there's no other way to translate it. كَانُوا مِنَ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا يَضْحَكُونَ. They used to laugh at the believers, at the ones who believed. But the second one has a second option of translation. الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا مِنَ الْكُفَّارِ. If you put that phrase together, because there's no kanu to split the phrase. الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا مِنَ الْكُفَّارِ. What do you get? You get the believers, the ones who believed from the kuffar. Meaning, that group of people that are called the kuffar, some of them ended up believing. Those among them who believed. الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا مِنَ الْكُفَّارِ. Like you say, الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا مِنْ مُشْرِكِي قُرَيْشِ. The ones who believe from Quraysh. So you could understand that phrase as the ones who believed from the kuffar, the ones who were kuffar and ended up believing. What are they doing? فَالْيَوْمَ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا مِنَ الْكُفَّارِ يَضْحَكُونَ. They're laughing. They're not laughing at anybody. They're just laughing. So these are two options to understand this passage at the end of Surah Al-Mutaffifin, such that it reconciles with the passages of the Quran that say that on the Day of Judgment, Allah will remove all ill feelings from the hearts of the believers. Wallahu ta'ala a'lam. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.